All righty, we're pleased to have on today from Boston, Massachusetts, a Cushing grad. He's fresh retired from the National Hockey League. He's played over 1,100 NHL games, the sound master, a solid golfer, and overall an absolute beauty. After all that, we're excited to have on today Keith Yandle, KY3. Keith, thanks for coming on the podcast today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And by good golfer, I think you mean very average golfer. But I'm going to be good. I give myself a year and I'll be good.
Well, we've seen you play. You get around the course all right.
Yeah.
Keith, what do you define as good? What's good in your books?
Good in my books would be, I think if you're a four or five handicap and under, I mean, obviously anything under that is really good. I think under 4 is really good. I think 4, 5, 6 is good. And then, kind of 7, 8, 9, 10, that's kind of average. And then, if you're over that, you got some work to do.
I'm with you. I think a lot of people don't realize how many people can't break 85 if they're actually keeping score.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like when you play ball and hole, like if you say you're an 8 handicap, like you're not shooting 82, 83, like you're shooting a 90.
Yeah.
It's when you get out there playing with your buddies and oh yeah, the next one's good, and then you blow it by the hole or whatever the case is. So my thing is that's why I think like the 3-4s, those guys, those are the good players that can make those putts inside 3-4 feet at consistency. That's the tough part of the game, I think.
Nail guns.
There ain't no double max when you're in the state championship.
Yeah. One of my best buddies down here, he played college golf. He played like mini tour stuff, and he wins the club championship down here every year. And he was playing in like the US mid-am or whatever it was. I can't remember the tournament. And he was leading going into like the 17th hole and had a 9 on 18. And it's just like, it happens. You lose a ball, you blow one out of bounds, you get stuck in a trap you can't get out of, and it's a couple bad shots, you're done.
Yeah, that's true.
Hit on a Snickers bar.
Yeah.
Okay. So we took a little hiatus, for about 3 weeks here, Keith, and you haven't done a podcast. So this is a Hall of Famer guest. I talked to Tori about this. I said, this is big time. We're happy you came on today. And, first, you're fresh or retired. How's the transition been so far? How's life? What's happening? What are you up to?
It's been really good. It's, summertime did a whole lot of nothing. Was a lot of family time because I was away last year with, the family stayed in Florida and I was in Philly playing. So the summertime was kind of catching up a lot with, family time and spending time with them. Now that they're back in school, I've been able to get out on the golf course a little bit. It's still a little bit too hot down here to golf kind of every day. You can kind of get beat up by the sun a little bit. So I've been once or twice a week, but I think starting this week, I'm going to play 3 days this week. And I'm hoping to play 3 or 4 times a week from here on out, and then get my handicap low.
You playing a Jordan's course?
That question.
What's that?
I said, how many times have you answered that question over the last couple of weeks?
It's the first time. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, quite a bit. Yeah.
So
is the Grove your home course?
Yeah, I'm at the Grove, and then I'm at a course here in Fort Lauderdale called Crow Ridge. It's like 5 minutes down the street. It's more of like a family friendly place. Really good golf course though. So I'll get up to Grove twice a week and then play at the other place probably twice a week.
Hate it for you, man.
Yeah.
Keith, you're born in Boston, and before we get to your hockey career, I want to dive into a young Keith Yandle, sorts of things that you were doing as a youngster, hockey, ball, golf, growing up with your bro who we've had on, BY. What was the competitive nature like in the household? Just walk us through a young Keith.
Yeah, so Brian was he's 3 years older than me, and then we have a sister in between us. And me and her were really close growing up. Brian didn't really talk to us too much, probably until I'd say when he left to go to high school was really like one of the first conversations I really had with him. He was kind of he was mean to me, beat me up all the time. Like we shared a room for probably, I don't know, 12 years. And nothing. You couldn't get anything out of him. But now he's like the nicest guy in the world, like so good to me. But yeah, he was tough on me when I was a kid. Stuck me in goalie at I was a goalie till I was like 11 or 12, because he would just stick me in the net, fire pucks at me. I was just kind of his test dummy. But me and my sister would kind of give it back to him a little bit. She was a good athlete as well. So, at least I had her on my side a little bit more. And, but yeah, it was good. Our neighborhood was great. A lot of kids. We were always like, no one was ever inside. You're outside till, so my dad worked midnights till 9 a.m. So he would sleep a little bit there. And then he coached hockey too. So he would sleep like from say 3 to 5. And when we got out of school, so we could never be in the house because he'd be sleeping. And in a small house, you didn't want to wake him up. So we would always be outside playing, whether we were at someone's house playing, street hockey or wiffle ball in the backyard. But yeah, I give a lot of our athletic credit to just being outside and playing.
I love it.
Keith, where did the nickname Kevin come from for your sister? I've always wondered that.
So like I said, my dad coached high school hockey, and remember like the track pants you would get and it would say like the kid's name on the leg.
Yeah.
And she wore she had like this one, I don't know if it was like a smaller kid on my dad's team or someone who quit, but my dad gave the sweatpants to my sister and they said Kevin on them, so we just always called her Kevin.
That's so awesome.
Yeah. But she was tough as nails back in the day. She used to beat my head in. It was bad, but she's a sweetheart now.
Mine held a knife to my throat one time. Fun fact.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Anyways, it's not about me.
Yeah. No, we want to hear it.
I can't go into it.
Yeah,
He's probably
get arrested.
Turner, go ahead.
Okay, so we're gonna go into your junior hockey career now. Obviously, we all know. I actually was looking at your Wikipedia. It's so funny. The first line. An amateur, Yandle originally intended to play college hockey at the University of New Hampshire, where his older brother Brian was already playing, but he struggled academically throughout high school and was denied admittance.
True.
Yeah, so I just think it's so funny. Yeah, obviously the junior way is the way to go.
Yeah.
So yeah, walk us through it.
I usually say the colleges couldn't afford me back then, but now they get paid, right? So I would have been good now. No, I had to do a summer class to get into school, to get into college. I had to do 2 classes in the summer, and the first class was like a Monday night, and I didn't realize it was like a 4-hour class. So I got in, and there was like an hour in, the teacher was like, all right, you can you guys have a quick break. And it was all like older college kids, like whatever, a lot of like older people getting their high school degree and whatnot. So everyone's outside smoking cigarettes, just hanging out. And I called my mom on the payphone. I said, I can't be doing this. Like, I can't be going to school. This is too much. Like sitting in a classroom for 4 hours. I was like, you got to come and get me. She's like, what are you going to do? I was like, I don't know. I'll go play junior hockey. And she's like, what is that? Just kind of explain it to her. And then I think I was drafted by Chicoutimi, and they didn't really, it's kind of like really French speaking town. They didn't have a lot of money. So they I think the league kind of set a play in where they were going to either trade me to Moncton or Quebec, and landed in Moncton, and it was best decision for me.
Yeah, what do you have, 90 points that year? And when you went all the way to the Mem Cup, right?
Yeah, we hosted the Mem Cup, but we also won the Quebec League. Wow. And then we lost to Quebec in the finals, who we had beaten in the Quebec League final. So yeah, it was a fun year. We had Teddy Nolan as a coach. Wow. They treated us. He said it in the beginning of the year. He's like, we're going to treat this year like it's the NHL. Like we flew private to games. Anything out of the Maritimes, we flew private to. They treated us unbelievable. Robert Irving, the owner there, was first class. Everything. It was unbelievable, and just kind of getting a little bit of a taste to pro hockey for me was, because I came from high school where you're playing. I think we played 22 games a year or something like that, to playing. What's junior? I think
72.
Yeah, so it was a big adjustment for me. I had no idea. That was before like the internet and all that stuff. It wasn't like I didn't know anything. I was just going into it blind. Went up there with my hockey bag and a small suitcase, not even knowing if I was going to stay, and stayed the year. And we had a really fun team. Guys I still talk to this day. So it was the right decision for me. That's for sure.
So
That
when
must be crazy. That's something I've never thought about. Like in the dub, they talk about the long bus rides and stuff. But if you're in the Maritimes, like travel's got to be hellacious.
Yeah, so we were you had, who was it? It was us, St. John's, Halifax, who else? So there was some teams that were close, but then you got to go to Victoriaville, Chicoutimi, Baie-Comeau, like those places are hard to get to, right? So it was, if you're bussing that, it would have been brutal. And luckily I didn't have to do it. I only did the 1 year there, so it was nice. But yeah, you hear a story about those guys in the dub bussing 36 hours and then eating a Timmy Hortons bagel before a game and just get right into it. I don't know how good I would have done on that.
Different breeds.
So Keith, you played high school hockey, and then after that you went right to Moncton
Yeah.
and played the 1 year there, and then you were right to the show. Because you
Yeah.
played a handful of games in the American League, but then you played right away.
Yeah, I think I started, I think my first year, I think I started the year in the NHL. I can't really remember. I'm pretty sure I played like the first, like, I don't know, I want to say 5-6 games or something like that, and then got sent down. Because back then there was a rule, if you played like
More than
10 games or whatever it was, 12, yeah, it was 10 games, I think. Then it had something to do with your like free agency. So they sent me down, and then so I think that was good for me too. Got a taste of the NHL and was like, okay, once I got sent down, I was like, if I ever get called back up, that's it for me. Like, I got to figure it out. And it got called up. Well, the next year, I guess it was the next year. And, kind of the rest is history.
So you get drafted to the, now the Arizona Coyotes, but Phoenix Coyotes in the 4th round, 105th overall. First, I guess, how cool was that for you? And then obviously your family. And then, you didn't have you had literally a cup of coffee in the American League, and then for what, 13 years, 12 years it was in the National League. So maybe walk us through just the draft experience itself for you and your family.
Yeah, that was crazy time. It was I remember it was the lockout year, 05, and it was my junior year of high school. So it was kind of like I didn't really know where I was going to go. I had gone to the combine and stuff like that. It kind of I had gotten into a little bit of trouble off the ice before that. So I was kind of falling a little bit, but I just didn't know where I was going. And my parents went out that day, bought a computer, and we had to get like the dial-up internet to find out like when you were getting picked. And it was like a lag, so you didn't know, and like it would just, but the draft was all in one day that day. So it would, like, you'd see the first pick, it's like Sidney Crosby, and then like 20 minutes would go by, and then like 15 guys they would show. So it was really hectic. We had a ton of people at the house, and then the phone rang, and it was, I forget who was working for the Coyotes back then. Their PR guy, they were like, Wayne Gretzky's going to be calling you. And I'm like, why would Wayne Gretzky be calling me? I had no idea he was the coach there, And so, yeah, just kind of, and then the next is, I think the week after that, I think we went out to rookie camp. I had never worked out once in my life. Just kind of went out there and played. That summer, I thought I was going back to high school, and then decided before that I wasn't, and I was up in Moncton. Then I went to camp. I went to NHL camp, still hadn't worked out. So it was kind of my first time ever going to an NHL camp. I hadn't worked out. With guys like Brett Hull, just like legends of the game in the locker room. And I'm like, what am I doing here? But I think I did okay that first training camp as a young kid. And then the next year, I knew a little bit what was going to happen. I went out and lived out in Phoenix, and trained with all the guys out there. And it was kind of, I didn't know what. I'd stayed in a hotel by myself. It was right down the street from I stayed at the like a La Quinta. It was terrible, but stayed at a hotel, walked to the gym every day. All the guys were older guys, like 30 years old, like Shane Doan, Derek Morris, all those guys. So they had their own family stuff going on. So I just kind of hung out around ASU and kind of made some friends and had a good time.
It sounded like a terrible time.
Yeah, it was great.
I bet you made a few friends at ASU.
I did, yeah. I used to go to classes with guys. It was hilarious. I would just sit in because those college classes are so big, right? You can just
They wouldn't even
just
know.
grab a notebook and walk around campus. It was fun.
Can you imagine playing in that barn now?
It's gonna be awesome. Yeah,
It actually will be kind of sick for him.
yeah, it'll be fun experience for hopefully just a year, and then they get a better building.
Yeah, no kidding.
Boys.
Keith, you said something earlier, and I didn't want to interrupt anybody or jump too far ahead, but you mentioned your family stayed in Florida when you went to Philly, and like these guys aren't married or have kids. Like, how was that dynamic? Going to Philly without them. Like, I know you lived with Hazy, but like that had to have been tough on the family because I'm guessing you've always lived with them throughout your career.
Yeah, it was. Luckily the kids are a little older. They're 11 and 9. So it would have been really tough when they were young. And, luckily my wife's she's a G. She held it down for the whole year and kind of just didn't complain to me about anything. And honestly, I was very lucky to be living with Hazy too, because there were times where I was like, all right, I can't handle this. I want to be home. Like, it was tough. There were some tough times, but, living with Hazy really helped. And then, my wife not complaining and yelling at me for being away really helped as well.
Gotcha.
Keith, where's your first game? Walk us through the whole day.
First game was in Detroit.
Sick.
Yeah, that's when they were loaded too. They had everyone.
Was that like Fedorov and like Holmstrom and Draper and those guys? Or is that like too far?
Yeah. No, that was all done. Was Fedorov might have been in Columbus, but I can't remember if Fedorov was there. It was definitely like Mulpey, Draper, Lindstrom.
Yeah, playing in the D zone.
Datsuk.
Welcome
Yeah.
to the guy.
Fuck.
Yeah, it was. I remember once we lost 9-1, and I'm pretty sure I was +1, which was tough to do. But I also was out there against like Draper, Mulpey, and McCarty, so I wasn't on the ice when Datsuk and Zetterberg and Shanahan, whoever was on that team. I wasn't out there when they were out there, but it was a game when I think it was like 6-0 after the second, and Wayne came in not happy, obviously, and I was like, oh man, this is gonna be it for me. Like one game, like this is not good. But my whole family, my parents were there, a couple of my uncles. We stayed at a Ritz. Obviously, the first time I'd ever stayed at a Ritz, I was like, what is this? I had a nice bathrobe in the bathroom. So
Yeah.
there was a lot of good things about it. I wish I remembered more from it. I just kind of remember the whole thing being a whirlwind and exciting times.
Okay, first goal now. Who'd you score on? You know that?
First goal was I can't remember who was against. I know it was against Philly. Was it Niittymaki? Was he the goalie then?
Niittymaki.
That's
That's a sick mask too, black cage.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was him. I'm not 100% sure, but I know it was against Philly. It was kind of like I think it was Sammy Kapanen came walking up the wall and kind of shot one at the net, and it went off the back wall, and I was pinching down and it came off the back wall, like kind of right to me, and I was able to put it in. And it was that was definitely fun. And wasn't many more after that. So
now I'm jumping backwards here. I forgot to ask you earlier. After your 6 skateboarding career, was there, and you chose hockey, obviously, was there any defenseman in the league that you kind of like wanted, to emulate your game after, like Uwe Krupp or Paul Bissonnette or something, big names like that?
So my big idol growing up was Ray Bourque, just obviously being in Boston, and then his son Chris is one of my best friends. So when Colorado won it in 2001, Ray came back and he coached us in high school. So that 2002, 2003 year, his first year not playing in the NHL, he was our D coach at Cushing. So
Sick.
it was kind of
That's handy.
yeah, it was for me, like he was so hands-on with me, and I don't know if he saw something in me, whatever the case was. He was so good to me and taught me so much at such a young age that it was that step for me from like 16 to 17, 18, just from having him was huge. Just the little things he would tell me about whether it was just angling guys, and Ray wasn't too physical of a guy, but he was just always in position. In my mind, I think he's the best defenseman ever, or top three, and probably everybody else's top five. But he taught me everything, and I'm forever grateful for him.
I don't know if you ever heard of a good Sasky boy named Bryn Ashton. He played for like 18 different teams in the league for about 15 years. But I asked him one time playing golf with him, who was the best defenseman he ever played against, and he said Ray Bork.
Yeah. He was just, I mean, if you see him, even when, he was playing, like he is so big and thick and low center, like he's not too tall. He's probably 6 feet, but just like he's built like that bag behind you, just the old tailor-made pro stock bag. So he's, and everything, like his offensive numbers are insane. Just everything about him was special.
Keith, you spent 8 seasons with Phoenix. Obviously the experience in itself, playing that many years there, nice weather, perfect, right? Golf after practice. But, Turner mentioned off, in our pre-show, you played like so many seasons in a row with 82 games, and I see it now, even coaching, a smaller market junior team, guys are always injured. How did you, maybe prepare differently, or how did you not get hurt? Was it, I don't think it's luck. I mean, I'm sure you played a lot of minutes, a lot of nights too. Walk us through, just like, you played a lot of full seasons.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing was my dad back in the day. He always would tell us like how to protect ourselves and how to, because when I was young, I was small and one of the smaller kids on the ice. And I think it's different now. I'm pretty sure my brother told me it's different now. You can't hit till maybe like, I don't know, 15 or 14.
Yeah, 15, yeah.
Yeah. So I think for us, like we played in a league, you could hit from mites or whatever the first league is, Timbits for you guys, right? You could hit from then on, and you're playing against kids that are huge, like for that age. And his big thing was always just how to use your body to protect yourself and take away guys' speed if they're coming in on the forecheck, how to, make one fake and, not get hit as hard as you probably would if you kind of took a bad angle at it. So he was big on that. And, that's why I think now, like the younger kids, especially the first, if you're not getting hit as a young kid and expecting it, you can kind of, it can come out of nowhere. And like someone, you get caught in the train tracks by a big kid coming down the wing or something like that. Like it's watch out time,
Right. Boys?
No, I just got it. You spent, so obviously a lot like Arizona and then a lot of years in Florida. I'm asking a biz question here. You go to Pennsylvania for 1 year and then you quit. Was it because of the state tax?
Yeah. I
don't even know tired of that after 1 year.
I don't even know if I was making enough money last year to get taxed on.
Grady was bullying him.
Yeah. No, the New York was when I really felt it. Leaving Arizona to go to New York, and the state tax and the cost of living, that was a world changing experience. But coming down to Florida, and hence why I still live here now, is the Bissonnette no state tax. I feel like if he keeps mentioning it, they're going to start taxing us down here. So I'm going to tell him to shut up.
Dude, I can't imagine even being a rookie. Say you're making 1.1 in New York City. That's like nothing.
Nothing, yeah. I mean, you're paying if you're living in the city, you're paying crazy amount of money for rent, and you get nothing. Every meal is expensive there. So if you're playing making league minimum, you're coming home and maybe working that summer.
Yeah, that's bananas.
Keith, I want to ask about Florida. So you play with some players like Huberdeau, Barkov, what was it like to play with those guys? And you were still in your prime there playing there, and you guys had some good runs. I've said it for a long time, I think, and Turner said earlier too, but Huberdeau, I think he's one of the top 5 players in the league. He's just
not even close.
we don't see a lot of games because it's the Florida Network or whatever up here in Canada, but like this guy's gonna do damage, I think, for Calgary. What's it like going to the rink with those guys every day? Obviously yourself, but playing and practicing with those guys.
Yeah, the big thing that I saw from those guys when my first year here, when Yager was here, and it was Huberdeau, Yager, and Barkey on a line, and they were like, they got the puck in the offensive zone and it was down there for a minute and a half easily, or until the goalie tied it up. Like they were so good together. And then I think the biggest credit to Hubie is the last few years he hasn't really played with Barkey, and if you put Turner out there with Barkey, he's getting 30, so
Yeah, he's going 30.
He can play with anyone, right? So Barkey's a guy that just changes. Like whoever he plays with is going to have a good year, and but yeah, he's a joke. And I think with Hubie, he just makes everybody around him better. He's probably, and it's not like I always said, Ray Whitney was probably one of the best forward passers that I ever played with. And Hubie and Ray Whitney are like, they're neck and neck, and Hubie they're two of the best passers I've ever seen in the game. And
really, Ray
Whitney's a 1,000-point guy in the NHL, as a small guy, and played during a time where there wasn't a ton of goals too. So he, I think Hubie's going to do some serious damage up there, and obviously he's going to be playing with good players as well. So you gotta watch out for him. But Barkey's probably the biggest horse I've ever seen playing. He just wants to play 26 minutes a night. He'll skate after the game. He'll go in on an off day, skate. This guy's all hockey all day, every day, and an absolute stud.
So after a game ends, he's like, after everyone leaves the building, he's on the ice?
Yeah, they had to tell him the 1 year, they had to tell him to stop doing it, like stop going on the ice, like basically take away his key to the rink, because he'd be there till the trainers would have to stay there. Obviously they're there at the game, but they'd be there till like 2:00 in the morning, and he's in the gym. Like he would shoot a medicine ball. He had a medicine ball. It's 20-pound medicine ball. He would shoot it against the wall as like his warm up. Just do me a favor, grab a 20-pound ball and try to shoot it against the wall. Like even the best guys the strongest guys in the NHL can barely do it, and he is rifling it off there. He's a different breed, man. He's one of the best I've ever seen. And
he uses the longest stick in the world. That thing looks
yeah. And he could play D if he wanted to.
He is a good two-way center.
Yeah.
He's smarter.
Keith, I've heard a bunch of your interviews on other podcasts. I don't think I've ever really heard of you talk about international play. Like, how many times did you wear the Stars and Stripes?
So we won I played on what's that tournament? They just had it. Is it the Ivan Halenka?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we won the gold in that. I don't even remember what year it was. And our team was not great. Like Canada had Sid. Sid was younger on the team, but they had Sid. I remember like Cam Barker was on the team. He was a stud when we were younger.
Medicine Hat Tigers.
They had a kid named I'll never forget, Wasey Rabbit. I don't know, you remember that?
He played in Saskatoon.
This guy was an animal. He was the first guy I ever seen. He would take face-offs with both hands. He would like flip it over. Now a lot of guys do it, but he was the first guy. I'm like, what is this guy doing? But they were loaded, and we ended up finding a way. Actually, I think Corey Schneider was our goalie. That's probably why we won. But that was the first time I never played summer hockey, so I never played for like those USA teams or the mass select stuff like that that would turn into the USA tryouts. So I never did that. And then I played one World Championships in Cologne, Germany. That was probably, I don't know, 2012 maybe.
I'm shocked you never played Olympics. Were you ever close, or like did you have hopes to and all that?
Yeah, I think the one in what was it? What was the one that Witt was on? Was that Sochi?
Or Vancouver.
2010,
Or Vancouver? Yeah, so
Vancouver.
Vancouver and Sochi. I believe I was, from what I've heard, anyways, was one of the last cuts, but who knows?
Still sick though to be thought about though. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Keith, okay, so you finish up in Philly, play with some of your buddies, Hazy, Atkinson, and then obviously touch on just maybe like the last year, the overall like this standings wasn't great for the team itself, but your last year in the league, playing with some of your buddies, and then I don't know if you want to touch on it if you're allowed to. I'm sure you are, but the Ironman streak, I don't know if you want to talk about that, but yeah, your last year in the league.
Yeah, it was honestly going into that year, we had high hopes in Philly. On paper, a really good team, and then we just got absolutely dummied by injuries. Like,
yeah,
big guys out, Couturier out pretty much all year, Ryan Ellis out pretty much all year, Cam was out for a bit, Hazy was out for pretty much the whole year. Trying to think who else, like Scott Watton was out for a bit, young Uzi, Joel Farabee was out for a bit. So I mean, when you're missing guys like that, it's tough to make some damage. But I think we had. I mean, it might sound bad, but we had a blast. Like those guys, we had so much fun. They were a great group of guys. I've been a part of some teams where when it's going south, teams turn on each other. But that group in there, everyone stuck together. Everyone was good teammates, good fun to be around. No one was, selfish, trying to, do stuff for themselves. A team that really cares about the organization and what they have to bring. I'm excited for them this year. Hopefully they turn around, make the playoffs. I'll be rooting for them. But what was the second part of the question?
I just brought up the Ironman.
No. So obviously it was great to break the record, which will last for maybe 2 weeks and once the season starts. But it was great. It was a fun day. All my family, friends, bunch of my coaches growing up, aunts, uncles, kids I grew up with. Like, I think it was in the middle of the week in Long Island. Like, I didn't know anyone was coming. I didn't ask anyone. Everyone just kind of surprised me. So that was probably one of the coolest things that happened to me over my career. Just seeing the support from family and friends. Obviously my wife and kids were there, which meant the world, and my parents, my brother and sister and their kids came. So it was a special day. And I think like the getting scratched for me, it was, I honestly didn't, I definitely deserved to be scratched. I was playing terrible. So it's not like one of those things where, I was playing good and they scratched me just to do it.
Right.
I wasn't playing well. I learned from at a young age, as Shane Doan always said, this league doesn't owe you anything. You got to earn everything. And, even if I knew it was my last year, so I just, just tried to help out the young guys. The kid Ronnie Attar that played the game. Like, I remember him telling me, he's like, man, I felt so bad. I don't want to be doing this. And I'm like, dude, it's your first NHL game. Have fun. Like, it's going to be a blast. You're going to play hopefully 1,000 more. But it was, for me, it was just kind of business. It is what it is. And if I was deserving to play, I probably would have been mad, but I wasn't.
You had mentioned how good the locker room was there. What did you think of Torts' comments saying he needed to get the locker room in a better place?
Yeah, I don't know if that's just the guy that I think whenever a team doesn't do good, you kind of look for anything, and he hadn't been around the team yet. But that group of guys is, like I said earlier, like, they want to win so bad. They want to win for not only themselves, but for the city. Like, guys love playing in front of those fans. Like, they can be a little unruling sometimes, but guys, enjoy it. And I think their leadership, that the group of guys that they have in there, is some of the best I've seen. And I was there for some dark times where, things aren't going well for guys, and everyone was still pulling from the same rope. No one was going off doing their own thing or asking for a trade. Not that I knew of anyway, asking for a trade, trying to get out of there. Guys were wanted to figure it out themselves. And, I respected every guy in that locker room. And yeah, like I said, I'm rooting for them big time.
I respect the hell out of that. That's awesome. Yeah, when things go
Torts will get him turned around.
What's
yeah,
that?
I said Torts will get him turned around.
Yep.
Yeah.
They've been
They got like a
grinding.
YouTube show going on right now.
What's that?
And they got a YouTube show going on right now, Philly.
Yeah, I
and-
watched the second one today.
The standard. And the boys didn't touch pucks for the first couple days. He just skated.
Yeah, they would. I was talking to a bunch of them, and they were like, "It's a grind," and they've been there since. I think they've been there since the 1st of September, or
Yeah.
1st of September. So
And a
they've-
couple of weeks
they've
early.
been grinding. They're going to be ready to go, and it makes sense. Like I think Tort said that he's like, the only thing you can control is if you're in shape or not, and you see what he's done with teams, and taking teams that maybe haven't deserved to be in the playoffs to the playoffs. And I think with him at the helm, and the like, they have a ton of skill there, like a ton of good players, a ton of guys that play hard. You just hope they can stay healthy and get it all figured out.
Yeah. You missed him when you went to New York, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck, they had
Yeah,
some good-
I'm glad. Yeah, I don't know how well I would have been doing with that.
Who's your favorite coach that you've had?
I gotta say Gretzky, right?
You have to.
Brander.
I'd say either Wayne or Dave Tippett. He was awesome. Was a guy that kind of, when our team, when we were good, it was no offense, didn't want us to do anything offensively, just kind of get the puck in, grind teams down, play good defense. We had good goaltending with Brizgalov, and then Mike Smith, and so it was one of those things where we just tried to win games 2-1, 1-0, and maybe score 1 or 2 on the power play. And I think for me that was, I enjoyed playing for him. He got a lot out of his guys. Really good, guy, especially like away from the rink, an unbelievable guy. His wife was awesome. Would have guys over for dinner. Just a really super nice guy.
Awesome.
boy, should we go to our segment called Questions from the Gallery?
I can't wait for this one.
All right. Sponsored by Rubber Co. Rubber Co. was founded in 2021. We have tons to offer. We got rubber mats, rubber flooring, speed bumps, parking curbs, and so much more. You can follow us on social media at rubber.co. Check out the website at www.rubberco.com. And you can call as well, 306-541-9840. Keith and everyone else out there, think with your head and choose the right rubber.
Is that like for like the garage? Like, because I'm trying to do a garage, like a gym in my garage,
Oh, yeah.
like that type of stuff. Okay. Someone hit me up.
We'll figure it out. Okay, you guys, we're going to do a sales pitcher now to Rubber Co. and Keith. All right.
What was it? I didn't hear what you said.
We're good. I was going to say, everyone jump off the line here. We'll sell you some rubber.
Yeah.
Okay. This question here, I've wanted to know for like 30 years, and I've only been around this world for 27. Okay, is it gray spray paint or is it primer? And you've done it forever. And I'm notorious for spray painting my sticks black, the odd time white, but I got to know, is it gray or is it primer?
It's platinum silver.
And why?
So remember the
Looks sick.
It does look nice.
and Huberto does it now too, which is nice. I used to have to do it for him because he was like, I don't know how to do this, so I would do it for him. But
You do like the Dumb and Dumber? Like,
he always, if anyone walks by while I was doing that, you'd always do that. But it started with what was the Easton stick? It was like
SE. No,
16.
SL or
S16. It was like
SC16.
silver and then red and then silver, like, but they had like silver, blue, silver, whatever. So the one that I had was silver, red, silver, and Phoenix, and I just got used to looking at the silver. And then then they stopped making those sticks, and then they'd come out with, like, they had a white one, I would spray paint the white one silver, and then they had a black one, I would spray paint that silver. So it was just I just got used to looking down at silver, and I still, to this day, if I went out and not that I would, but if I went out and played street hockey in my neighborhood, I wouldn't be able to look down and see like an all black stick. I'd have to have it spray painted.
So like
That
how
is
many
so
how many
funny.
cans of paint would they bring on the road for you?
There'd always be two in the holster, and then I'd use one. I'd use
So
one for,
good.
yeah. But I was very, I mean, you can ask any trainer that I had, I was brutal, but it had to be it had to be the certain kind, the certain in like they had to like tape it up in towels on, because when you flew, it would like sometimes the air pressure would get different and the spray would come out differently. So I was crazy about it, but it worked.
I'm just picturing you coming off a plane. You got your like coat and tie on, and you've got like like a literal holster.
He's got
Yeah.
chaps
With
on.
Yeah, with silver spray paint on it.
Yeah. What's up, boys? Yeah, no, it actually the first few years I remember in Phoenix, the trainer Stan Wilson, he was like, oh, we can't fly with that spray paint. They'll have some on the road. I'm like, they won't have the one that I want. He's like, so I used to spray them and then put them back in the wrapper. And then that got a little tedious. So I was kind of like, all right, let's just bring it, see what happens. So they had kind of had like a separate little compartment for it in the trunk, and just kind of always had it ready for me.
I love it. Perfect. Thank
Got
you.
like NASA fucking technology boxes sitting there to like keep it not pressurized.
Yeah, certain temperature.
You should have been like just like Mike Green. You're going on like Amazon to buy old sticks that they don't make anymore, so you can play with them.
Yeah, I know. And then who used to do it? Was it Patty Marlowe with the skates? Like he had the those
old
pumps,
CCMs.
whatever. Yeah,
or Reeboks or whatever.
guys are crazy, and I'm one of them.
Fire away, Rip.
Who's the best DJ in the room? All time.
I'll tell you who the worst is Scott Lawton. This guy, man, oh my god, it was bad because he was one of my best buddies too. He sat right next to me, and he just all he would play was like man, the sound system in Philly was so loud, and it was right by my ear. I'm like, he's like, dude, you're like 50 years old telling us to turn down the music. I'm like, man, I can't even concentrate. But he was definitely the worst. Joel Farabee was the best on Philly. Always he'd ask me like one or two songs like that I would like to hear, and he would always get them in for me. So he was good to me with that. It was good back in the day. It was fun when the guys would just like, there'd be a case of CDs in the locker rooms, like visiting room, and you'd literally just put on a CD and have to listen to it front to back. And there was a lot of Nickelback being played back then.
Shock Jams 2003.
Yeah.
What's the
Shock Jams
go-to tune
Volume
for you?
8. What's that?
What's that?
What are you? Are you a country or rap? What are you?
I'm rap, yeah, like strictly rap, but not rap that's on the radio, like just.
You're a Drake guy, hey?
No, not a Drake guy. No.
Slob on my knob. That's
3-6 Mafia. Yep, that's my stuff.
Wu-Tang Clan.
Wu-Tang. Yep. I mean, all like the 90s Biggie, Eminem is one of my favorite. The old school Lil Wayne stuff. Just kind of a little bit of everything. Big Pun, everything.
These young pups don't get it, man.
No.
Tori, you're up.
All right. Who's the most underrated forward and D man in the league right now? Or I guess in the previous year that you played against that we really don't talk about?
I'll give you one on D, and it's Travis Sanheim from in Philly. This guy is a stud, and I don't know if he just doesn't know it yet, but to his, like, he never gets power play time. He doesn't ask for it. Like, he's not really a guy he gets all of his points 5-on-5. He's a horse, like plays 25-30 minutes a night, skates like the wind. I think he is so good and so underrated. He's one of my favorites right now. I'd take him on my team any day.
I was line mates with his twin brother in junior.
Really?
Yeah, it's so funny. Like Travis is huge. He's a huge D-man, and then Taylor's like fucking 5'9", just a little runt. It's hilarious.
Really?
Twin brothers.
Oh, that stinks. Did he make it, or did he play at all? Or?
Taylor played in the
Right,
Dub for a bit, and then I played with him in Penticton, and then he shut it down, became a farmer.
Yeah, that works. He also said his home golf course, you have to rake the green. Have you ever heard of it?
Oh,
Yeah.
where's it from? Where's
got
it?
some.
Elkhorn, Manitoba.
Alcorn, yep. He
Yeah.
showed me photos of it. You rake where you're gonna hit it on the green, and then you putt. I'm like, that's
Yeah.
not cool.
He takes his finger and draws a line to the hole, so he just putts
Yeah.
it.
And forward wise, for the last 5 years, I said Barkov, but now I think he's past that. Everyone knows what he can bring. Trying to think here. You know who I really like is that kid, is Pavel Zacha. He just got traded to the Bruins. I think he's gonna have a really good year. I think he's a good player. He's, maybe I don't even know what but I skated with him in the summers the last couple of years, and he's big, he's strong, he can shoot the puck. I think he's gonna have a really good year this year.
Love it.
Keith, my buddy has a question. He said, he's heard from my buddy who's friends with Nolan Patrick. You and Hazy walking down the street, and this guy clearly has his hands full with the couch. What'd you ask him?
No, so but I still do it to this day, but anytime someone has like their hands full, I just always like, for waiters like carrying something, I always just say, excuse me, do you know what time it is? Just so they like stop off and like, just like some guys like try to look for their phone. Like, serious. Like I was at my cousin's wedding a couple of weeks ago, and one of the guys had like legit 2 trays carrying. I'm like, excuse me, sir, do you know what time it is? And he was like just panic, like put down. He's like, oh, it's 9:30. I was like, oh, okay, thanks. But yeah, we were coming out of a Starbucks, and it was in New York, and two guys were carrying a couch. It was freezing out, and 2 guys were carrying this big old leather couch, and I was like, excuse me, sir, do you know what time it is? And he was like, fucking help me. Sorry, I don't know if you can swear or not. He's like, you should be helping.
Yeah.
You should be helping me with this right now. And I was like, oh, sorry, gotta go to work. Because we were going to a game. It was, and Hazy was like, what is wrong with you? I don't know. That's how I still do it.
While we're chatting, do you know where the entrance is to MSG? That's where I work.
To MSG?
No, didn't you say it was in New York? Sorry. Maybe
Oh
that
yeah,
was
yeah.
just-
It was yeah, we were coming out of like a star. Oh yeah, yeah, I see what you mean now. Yeah. As I'm walking there with my game jersey on.
Turner?
I'm gonna go again. Where did Sonk come from?
So we used to say, remember everyone, I don't know, you guys might be too young. You'll remember everyone used to say psych.
Yep.
So it turned from psych to Sonk when we were in high school. It was me and Ray Bork's son, Chris Bork, were the kind of the ones that got it going. And it was something like our whole high school said it. So it was like, it was kind of one of those things that everyone just said.
Now everyone just screams it at you.
I think the best one
Yeah.
was when you guys were playing at Sandbagger and Biz hits that putt, and then your putter, like I had never seen someone hold a putter with the face in their hand, and you're just like, Sonk, and that one went viral. But I might have rewatched that video like hundreds of times, just the way like, just like
Have you pups? Do you guys know Psych? Have you guys ever heard that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Psych, one of those.
Yeah.
I think another all-time one-liner is this. Imagine cheering for a fucking tie in the Sandbagger.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
They're so funny, man.
All time.
Rip, go ahead.
I don't got much here. No.
I got one.
All right.
I'll go.
Yeah, keep
I'll go ahead, Tori.
go.
Sorry.
You
Because
see
you brought it
the
up.
boy in the background?
Who is that?
His name's Kush for Cushing.
Goosh.
Let him.
Hey, Kush.
Oh, there's Kush.
Yeah. Cushion.
That's cool. Keith, I wanted to ask about. Oh, you brought it up last time, or no? I saw a clip of it. Yeah, like you're super polite, hey? Like you say thank you to like goaltenders. Like, is that a normal thing, or like mid game you're just like thank you?
Yeah, what I would just anytime. I think it started with like Mike Smith because he stopped everything behind the net. He was so good at it. and he's another reason why you didn't miss a lot of games in Phoenix, because if he got the puck, he was like a third defenseman, so he would snap it out for you. And it's just I was thankful for him to not have to go back all the time and have to get ran through the glass. So I just started saying thank you to him, and then I remember, I think it was like Mike McKenna, like a call up guy, journeyman goalie, great guy, but he was kind of the first guy who was like, dude, did you just say thank you to me on the ice? I'm like, yeah. And just, I don't know, just being polite, good manners.
I love it. Tori?
Did you watch WWF as a kid?
Oh, I lived for it.
Who was your favorite? Give me top 3 actually.
Top
Sure.
3.
I've got
So my all-time favorite is actually not a WWF guy. Can you guess it?
Sting.
That's my number 1. Yeah, Sting.
Thank you. 1 point.
Yeah, good call. 2, I dressed up as Sting for Halloween probably last year, the year before. No, I'm just kidding. Probably for 7 years straight, from like 12 to but Undertaker was up there. He was probably my number 2. And then I loved X-Pac, like the 1, 2, 3 kid, X-Pac, and D-Generation. I loved them. But
ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages.
Oh,
Sorry.
Jesus. This was Tori's like most exciting thing about today. He's like,
what if the badass Billy Gunn?
He's sitting eating supper tonight. He's like, hey, telling his wife how he talked about WWF with you.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what brings that up is I've started getting hooked on this A&E
biographies.
WWF. Yeah. Have you been watching that?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
They're so good.
Can't
you know which one was my favorite? And I didn't know. I mean, obviously I remembered him. Booker T. His was probably
I haven't watched that one.
Awesome. Yeah.
It's sad but interesting, like seeing how many of these guys end up like really mentally and physically and drug wise like banged up. Like they live that's a hard life, man.
Yeah.
Anyways, sorry. Didn't want to take it to that
direction.
The guy,
remember Gangrel? He was like
no,
a vampire. He had like vampire teeth. He was with like Triple H when Triple H first started.
Oh yeah. Okay, I know who you're talking about now.
He might have had like different names, but he lives in Florida. Nice. He lives in Florida. I've met him a few times, and I'm just like, he's like, dude, the toll, like those guys, they drove everywhere. They would, like, you know how big they are. There'd be 5 guys in like a Toyota Camry driving from, Tampa to Dallas. It's just like their lifestyle was a grind, but I loved it. I used to rent all the VHSs when they would come out and watch all the pay-per-views whenever I could. So it was a lot of fun growing up.
That is awesome.
Tori, I want you to do your Brian Yandle impersonation. And the reason why I say this because one time I had a buddy of mine, he's so gullible. I was like, hey, I put Tori's name in my phone as Keith Yandle. This is like a year ago. And I'm like, hey, call this guy. So he calls him and does like, I think it's Brian Yandle, the voice he's gonna do. But he's like, that's Keith Yandle. You have his number. Like, you talk to him all the time. I'm like, yeah, we're buds. Fucking right. So Tori, do the BY.
Keith, don't laugh because it's gonna be terrible. This is not even you. It's actually BY. But it's the story on Chicklets when you guys were on the West Coast wagon tour. And he's like, we had this buddy, String Bean. He had an old Toyota 4Runner called the Kosovo Mobile. I swear to God, a family of squirrels came out of a bag of Doritos. What was the other? Oh, there was a pack of Jolly Ranchers. He's like, it'll be all right, BY. We'll get there.
Don't worry about it, BY. We'll get there.
Who's a string? Who is String Bean? Let's hear about String Bean.
String Bean's he's my best friend in the world.
I love that.
One of my daughter's godfather. He's been my right hand man since we were babies. But he's a scout for the Montreal Canadiens.
Nice.
That is perfect. So he's not in the Kosovo Mobile anymore.
The thing is, he still drives the Kosovo. But he gets like a new one every year. He gets a new 4Runner, like whatever, every 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah. But he had his best car before that was he had like a Honda Civic. And I swear to God, we would drive this thing. We would put maybe $7 worth of gas in it, and we would drive for weeks. Like, you didn't have to fill this thing with gas. It was unbelievable. And
Was it you or Brian telling the story about the driving down like some small road? I think it was Brian talking about the Kosovo mobile, like turning up the volume.
oh no, that
gently.
was yeah, that was me.
That was
was
okay.
Yeah, we were late for because we were in high school. We had a practice out on New Year's Day, so we were out New Year's Eve night, and then we were driving to practice, and we were driving down side roads. I looked up, I fell asleep, and I looked up and I saw the speedometer. We were going like 80 miles an hour on the side roads, and I look at him and he's out cold sleeping. And I'm like, oh boy, we're done. Like, this is it. And I just turned the music up a little bit, and he was just like, oh, he's like, oh, we're almost here. Kid's the best. He's the best.
Okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, though, how good was that impersonation, though?
That was a 9. I'll give that a 9. That was good.
Oh shit, I was gonna be happy with 6.
No, that was really good.
Can I do my last question here?
You betcha. And then we'll let you-
Actually, super quick. How honored were you to win funniest player in that anonymous NHLPA vote?
Was that an actual thing?
Yeah, I think so. You were rated funniest player.
You didn't award for that?
No,
No, it's
I
not.
got
No,
You
it's
didn't have
just
any
like
bonuses in your contract.
I should have. Yeah, no, I didn't even know. So yeah,
okay.
very
But
grateful.
Yeah, hang a plaque. But my last question is your favorite rink and city to play in, like as a visitor,
Yeah.
Chicago
Oh,
for both.
Yeah.
for both. Yeah, we played them in playoffs one year, and that building was buzzing. Like, from the anthem on, warm-ups, everything. And then one of my favorite cities, I want to get out there in the summertime. I've never been when really the weather's nice, but great restaurants, nice people. That's probably my favorite city to go to. And then I think Nashville's probably too.
Oh yeah.
Keith, last question, I think, and then we'll let you go, but don't leave after we're done here. But one piece of advice you would give a young listener today, obviously you play a long time in the National League, but not only hockey, but, life, work, obviously to be successful, but, just some advice for a young listener.
I think the biggest thing, the best advice I ever got, and it's simple, and I'm sure everyone's heard it a million times. I had this coach, Peter Muse, one of my good friend's dad, just playing house hockey, and he just said, whatever you do, just always have fun with it. And he was like, and if you're not having fun, stop doing it. And for me, it was kind of the same. Anything that I do is, I'm not going to do it if I'm not having fun. It's kind of one of those things where, for me, if I'm having a good time, I'm going to have a really fun time. But if you're not having a good time, just let it be. That's why I stopped going to school, because I wasn't having fun.
Yeah. College dropout.
Yeah, high school.
All righty, there it is. Episode 130, Keith Yandle. Man, you made us come back to do a podcast even better today. So I appreciate you coming on. I had a lot of laughs. I think Turner and Tori and myself enjoyed it. We hope you enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.